Hello, my name is Maya and this is Shining Bull Vedic Astrology. Today I'm going to speak with you regarding an analysis that I have just done about the Libra cryptocurrency proposed by Facebook. And the purpose of this video is so that you understand the relationship between the future of cryptocurrencies and the future of Libra and the future of Facebook so that you can benefit from this situation. That's my point. So I'm going to tell you first about Libra and about how it relates with Facebook, looking at both of the natal charts that I pulled up for these two entities. And the point is to then explain to you at the end how you can harness this situation and what you need to be aware of. So in this video is going to explain all of the points of my analysis, and then if you're interested more in astrology itself and you want to look at the visuals for the charts that I was looking at, then you can go to my Medium article, whose link I will post in the comments or in the info below. And that will let you see the visuals of the charts and see exactly what points in the sky I'm referring to. But this video will tell you everything you need to know. So, carrying on, the first thing we'll speak about is Libra's chart. Now, the chart that I used was the date, time, and place of the publication of Libra's white paper. And I would like to tell you that this chart is extremely strong. It is strong in a way that, and like, what I mean is, like, it's extremely strong in its Rashi chart or natal chart. It's extremely strong related with its Navamsha chart. Then it's still strong or stronger even in the D60 chart. It's as strong as it can be in the D2 Hora chart. There is no way in hell, in my opinion, that these guys do not have a Vedic astrologer working for them, which would make total sense because like Vedic astrology is very known by the Indian diaspora, and there are many Indian people working in California. So I mean, these guys have probably known about this for a long time, and this astrologer that they have is clearly a very good astrologer in many ways. So so the fact of the matter is that there is no way that this initiative is going to fail. Libra is going to succeed, and Libra has an even stronger chart, a much stronger chart than the chart of Facebook itself. Because anyway, so in fact, there's such a difference in the strength of these two charts and the nature of these charts that I would say that Libra is going to succeed past Facebook's success. Like, I think Libra itself will redefine Facebook completely, and Libra is what will have the way more strength going into the future than Facebook itself, or what we consider as Facebook now. So, regarding Libra's chart, number one, the first two really important planets, in one sense, are Mars and Mercury. Mars is the soul signifying planet. Mercury is the soul's helping planet. So the Atmakarka and the Amatyakarka. They are both together in Gemini, ruled by Mercury. So Mars is benefiting from that. Them being together, conjunct, that itself is very good because it's like two best friends who have the most to give together so that they can give more. Okay, and then other than being in Gemini, they are both Vargotama, which is meaning that they're in the same sign in the Navamsha as in the natal chart, and they are also in a Pushkara Navamsha degree or pada, which means that they have even more strength. Now, Mars is the ruler of the 7th house of partnerships and the 12th house of foreign lands and escape and amongst other things. And then, so that's Mars. Then Mercury is the lord of the 2nd house of resources that we can spend, that we can use, such as money, but also other resources based on our own inner, what we have, basically. And the 5th house of playing, of playing with investments, of playing in the stock market, of being creative in a playful way, of such things. Okay, and now, next, together with them is so along with Mars and Mercury, also conjunct with them is Rahu and the Sun. And firstly, let's speak about Rahu. So Rahu is a very powerful force, and where Rahu is, this force, I'm really trying not to gender, but like, so just know that. So Rahu sits wherever they sit, right? And in your chart, and will use the resources that they have. And in this case, Rahu has a lot of resources because Rahu is in this very powerful place with Mercury and Mars and the Sun, who I will just now later explain why it's even more powerful where Rahu is sitting. But then Rahu is also very strong in that sign of Gemini, which is a dual sign. And then the other thing is, so what does that mean? So that means that primarily Rahu will take the persona of Mercury and will put force into achieving via that persona in this chart. So as Mercury is the lord of the 2nd and the 5th house, as I said, that means that Rahu's force is going to be going into achieving what? Resources, money, and the ability to play with resources and money and be creative with that. All right, because those are the themes of the 2nd and the 5th house. Now, later in my analysis, I will tell you why Rahu is even more important, because Rahu is also very important in Facebook's chart and very powerful there. So keep in mind that that's what Rahu wants here. So what about the moon? So when this white paper was published, Libra's white paper, a white paper is like the definitive description of the intentions that an entity has regarding why they're releasing a new cryptocurrency. So when Libra's white paper was published, the moon was transiting through where Libra's natal Saturn and Ketu are, And okay, so and the moon is in the natal chart in the nakshatra of Purvashada. This is in Libra's eighth house of unexpected gains and unexpected ups and downs that we cannot avoid. So, being in the eighth house in the chart is also the lord of the third house. And the third house is initiatives, efforts, courageous efforts that we make in order to put ourselves forth, in order to make use of our resources, which are the second house. So, the moon in Purvashada is ruled by the goddess Appa, who's the wife of Varuna, and this deity is like the waters that inspire humanity. And so, what this means is, which I will just explain right now, is that like when there's a relationship between like these ups and downs, these unexpected ups and downs that this initiative Libra will face, and the efforts that they will make, and these efforts will be in the form of inspiration. Um, and if you read the white paper itself, it's kind of a route that they're going. They present this in a very inspiring, far reaching, inspirational manner. And actually, that is tied in with one reason why they cannot fail. So, first, why will they not fail? One other reason. I mean, there's so many reasons. So, this is one reason of like a lot of reasons. So, one reason is that um, they have Viprit Raj Yoga happening, which is that their um, sixth house lord, Venus, is opposing their eighth house lord, Jupiter. So, in the chart, Venus is actually in the ascendant, the first house, and Jupiter is in the seventh house. And since they're in an opposition, this creates a situation where this Libra will need to face battles, but they will get gains from these battles. And the other thing about this is that Venus, as the sixth house lord, is in the first house and is strong, and so it's like another benefit to this Libra regarding these daily battles, these conflicts that will come up. So, what will these battles and these gains be regarding? Well, since the sixth house lord and the eighth house lord are in the first and seventh house, and Jupiter is also the lord of the 11th house, what's happening is that these challenges will be regarding the gains and the ups and downs that can come with partnerships. And if you know anything about this whole thing, like partnerships is a big part of what this is about. Yeah, the next thing is that when this Viprit Raja Yoga is set off, what happens is Mars is also activated because um, Jupiter is sitting in Mars's sign. So Mars being activated, as I said, Mars is very powerful here. But now I'm going to tell you even more powerful things about Mars in this chart. Okay, and not just Mars, all of the planets that are sitting with Mars, Mercury, Sun, and Rahu. Um, so, what this means basically is that when they go through these battles, these challenges regarding partnerships and the gains that they can get and the ups and downs they can face, when they're successful or when they're in this battle process, the following beneficial yogas will subsequently be activated. Those are Raja yogas between um, the Sun and Saturn, because the Sun and Saturn are opposite, right? Because all of these Sun, Rahu, Mercury, Mars are in the second house, and opposite is Saturn and Ketu and the Moon in the eighth house. So the one Raj Yoga is between Sun and Saturn as rulers of the fourth and the ninth house. They are going to be bringing beneficial fusion of um, stability, well-being, and direction, the path that Libra wants to take. So those things will be tied together in a beneficial way. Number two, Mercury and Sun as lords of the fifth and the fourth houses. So that's going to tie together this ability to play with money, with resources, be creative with them, and the comforts and the stability. And then we have Mars and Mercury, the Lord of the seventh house and the fifth house, the Lord of partnerships and the Lord of creativity and playing, getting tied together. So their partnerships and this creative play with money, resources, are going to be mutually beneficial. And then we have Saturn and Mars, the ninth house lord and the seventh house lord. Again, the path and the path and the partnerships. So the future that they see for themselves and their partnerships. So that's pretty like terrific for them. The other thing, like regarding this Viprita Raja Yoga, is that even like in the D9 chart itself, Jupiter is also involved in a Viprit Raj Yoga with regarding the same houses, the sixth and the eighth. And then another thing is like, for example, in the D9, Rahu is 12th from the original natal Rahu, and Saturn is also 12th from the original natal Saturn. But then in the D60 chart, they're second from themselves. So now what could be a little bit challenging here? Well, let me tell you one other terrific thing is that there's no way that they don't have a Vedic astrologer working for them. There's no way. Also because when you look at the Libra chart and the Facebook chart, and you just if you have if you're able to see when you see the chart, then it's very clear that um, an astrologer with this wisdom was made this chart for them and probably advised them on when to release this white paper. So the other thing, lovely thing, is that in their D2 chart of like the regarding the how the energies of the sun and the moon are playing out in the chart, like all of day strong planets are in um, the day sign or the sun sign. All of the night strong planets are in the moon sign, and so that means like that's like even another layer of why it facilitates even more their being able to move forward with the correct energies required. And then so what is the maybe challenging thing here? Well, it's not even like you could say, okay, in this chart, Jupiter and Saturn are retrograde. But when you look at the Facebook's original chart, the see, this is the Libra chart, right? So when you look at Facebook's chart, one thing is that actually they're both retrograde in that chart too. So I feel it's like they're kind of like these people, these Facebook people, uh, like Mark Zuckerberg, etc., are prepared for this type of energy that they're setting out with because they've been working inside of this signature, inside of this retrograde energy of these two planets since the beginning of Facebook. So that's like interesting. Um, so, what will this retrograde energy mean for them? Well, maybe one thing is that um, Saturn, Saturn is the lord of their ninth house and their 10th house, and they'll like be needing to revise and work constantly on this vision that they see for themselves, this path. And then the next thing is that they with Jupiter retrograde, they may have I think they will actually, for other reasons, they will have uh, difficulty synthesizing the true wisdom regarding partnerships and the gains and the ups and downs related to partnerships. But then again, Jupiter is this involved in the Viprita Raja Yoga. So in the end, they will have success with this. So regarding Facebook's chart, so we can relate it with Libra. Okay, so firstly, one thing to be aware of is like in the white paper, they say that they're going to be releasing this the first half or the first part of 2020. At that time, the Facebook. Now I'm talking about Facebook. Will be in the still in the Saturn dasha, Mahadasha, the Saturn larger astrological period of influence over them, and the sub dasha, antardasha of Jupiter. And so let's talk about these planets in relationship to Facebook so you can understand what will be at play and whether they can benefit from it. So, firstly, Saturn for them is the sixth house lord of daily battles, work, enemies, all of these things, and the lord of the seventh house of partnerships, and is in their 11th house of gains in Mercury sign Gemini, um, in a Parivartana yoga with Mercury, because Mercury is in Capricorn. So they're like doing an exchange of signs. So they're kind of like looking out for each other. So, and Mercury being the lord of their 11th house, of course, of gains, and then their second house of resources. And Mercury is actually conjunct the sun, but is in seems to have a Buddha Aditya yoga taking place. So Um, Maybe this is why, like, if you read, if you research, I researched quite a bit regarding the history of Facebook, and the one thing I noticed is that Mark Zuckerberg, especially, um, and I suppose his team later, were able to and are able to very, or he has a lot, seems to have a lot of clarity in this situation. It's not him, right? It's Facebook that, but like Facebook basically has benefited from this clarity regarding the sixth house of enemies and being able to deal with this in a way that gets them material gains and ensures their resources. And that's because Mercury has this clarity given by the sun, at a nice, safe distance from the sun. So it's not, um, Mercury isn't combust, they're not being aspected by any malefics. So then the other thing is next to the sun, that means sun is actually doing okay, even though sun is in the enemy sign, Shani, Saturn's sign. The sun is with Mercury, who's in Parivartana Yoga with Saturn. So sun is okay. Now, one interesting thing, fascinating thing. Oh, and wait. The other thing is that, just so you know, Jupiter, whose subdasha it will be when they say that they will release Libra, he is the Atma Karaka, the soul signifying planet of Facebook, and then the Amatya Karaka is Sun, I believe. So about the sun is in the nakshatra called Shravana, and that nakshatra is ruled by the moon, and it's has a lot to do with listening, with the ear, with listening, and also with conquering several lands. But let's focus on the listening part here. When recently Facebook came under scrutiny or criticism because they had been transcribing the audio conversations of Facebook users. And guess when that happened? Guess that scandal occurred very recently in the month of Shravan. That is the month of Shravan Nakshatra, because the moon would, like, technically, actually, it's not, that moon was actually full in, not in Shravan, but the point is that the moon is becoming full in that nakshatra. So it's like it was time for that to come out. And that is where the sun is. And sun is actually the ascendant lord of Facebook. And the soul signifying planet, the Atmakaraka, Jupiter, is also in the ascendant. And may I just say that the Aruda Lagna of Facebook, what we see Facebook as, is Gemini, which is like a dual sign. It's a lot related with the other, with with the duality of souls, for example, duality of people, duality of personas. And that's how we see Facebook. But Facebook's Lagna is Leo. Um, the soul signifying planet is in Leo. Um, And Leo is the sign of the sun, and the sun is the administrator. The sun is the one who rules over all of us, who administers all of us. And that is Facebook. Not all of us, because you don't have to have Facebook. But anyway, so now, next. So, like, like, just like, again, like, let's just, before I continue, revisit this fact. Jupiter is the soul signifying planet in the ascendant, lord of the fifth house of creative play with money, lord of the eighth house of ups and downs and unexpected gains. And the sun, the dispositor of where Jupiter is in the nakshatra, which deals with listening, which we have already seen became was shown for how it is working for this entity. When it was the month of Shravan, illuminating this kind of like development of the product beyond what is allowed, and listening to, in this case, those over whom it administers. And like and then for anyway, so like another thing I want to say is, before I continue, if you watch my Bitcoin video, I mentioned that I think I said in March of 2020 something will happen that will make Bitcoin's value soar. This may be that, because this is something that's happening, supposed to be happening the beginning of the first part of 2020. And looking at this chart and its strength, Libra's chart, not Facebook's chart, and also knowing a little bit, like, basically, they have institutional partners, and obviously, and like regarding administering is what a bank does. Sun is related to that too, and this is going to be basically a bank, right? Like, you have to do your own research if you don't understand what I'm talking about, but I'm just giving you the astrological analysis. But see, obviously, they are saying that people can buy their currency, Libra, but if you buy Libra, you're not going to get returns on your Libra. Libra will be practical for spending, and according to them, for banking the unbanked all over the world. Another interesting thing related to Libra's 12th house lord being Mars, 12th house of foreign lands. Mars being so powerful, and then in Facebook's chart, this Shravan nakshatra I've been telling you about is also about conquering different lands, and we've already seen that it's quite active in what they're up to. So the nakshatra, I'm just talking about stars here. So and planets. So obviously, when this organization has money, like a bank has our money, if we have money in a bank, so then the bank invests, right? And naturally, since we had, I think, like 10 years ago, the banking crisis, and now we have this solution of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, which are a balance to this, right? Because if we have another crisis with our fiat money, then crypto is something that goes up when that goes down, type of thing. So naturally, these institutions, all this whole group, naturally, they will not only invest the money that people buy into Libra only in fiat currency. It's backed by fiat currency, but naturally they will be investing in cryptocurrency, along with obviously investing in the fiat market. So you may have seen, like recently, the Winklevoss twins um, voiced their actual, like, kind of like support for an interest in working with Libra. And these guys have huge amount of Bitcoin and are proponents of cryptocurrency. They have a crypto exchange called Gemini, incidentally, uh, and even though they were like they claimed being the, like, they have an ongoing feud with this Mark Zuckerberg, but even still, they are interested in playing with him regarding this. So, um, the fact is that this will help the value of Bitcoin, which will help the value of other cryptocurrencies, or it will help the value of Bitcoin and other top cryptocurrencies. Why? Because of the institutional investment that will happen, even more so when the funding pool is from the majority of humanity, since so many human beings are on Facebook. So, what does this mean? This means that tell your, like, what I'm telling you, like, to tell our siblings, our sisters, brothers who don't know that the option to invest in cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, Monero, and so on and so forth, there are so many, that option is already there to bank the unbanked and to, more importantly, not more importantly, but in this situation, very importantly, what that means is if you are buying into these currencies, then you will benefit from what how much Libra is going to benefit, because Libra is going to benefit. So do you want to benefit with Libra? Meaning, do you want your investments in crypto, such as in crypto, to Bitcoin, especially, and other top cryptos? Do you want cryptos that are attractive to these guys, just like they're attractive to us? Do you want that to go up, and do you want to benefit hugely from this situation? Or do you want to give these guys your money so that they can benefit, just like a bank? So that's just something to consider, because this is happening. And then next, just like the last thing I just want to say is like regarding Rahu in the Facebook chart. Rahu, like what I feel in Facebook's chart, Mars in the D1 in the original natal chart is the Yoga Karaka planet. Mars is the ruler of the ninth house and the fourth house, and that means that Mars is a planet that has a ability to give a huge amount of good, and Rahu is sitting together with Mars in Mars's own sign. So again, like you saw in the Libra situation, this Rahu is also doing quite well for themselves, and this Rahu therefore is okay, and this Rahu is in a nakshatra that is called Bharani. And looking at this situation, I feel that Rahu's interest for Facebook is to like usher humanity into a post world, like into a non-real world, which is basically what Facebook has done to so many people, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. So I'm a human being. I have my opinions. I'm an astrologer, but obviously my like anyway, that's just my opinion. But it's not my opinion what Rahu is doing here. And Rahu is in that nakshatra, and if Rahu's interest is ushering humanity into the a world after this world, and then how I feel. This is my feeling, but what I just said is not feeling. It's astrology. Um, is that that's what Facebook has done. And then, how is Rahu interested in doing this? Harnessing, which Rahu has the capacity to do in this situation, harnessing the um, power of Mars, harnessing the fourth house of comfort, home, and harnessing the ninth house of vision, of the idea of our path, the path for the future. So, and Mars is coming from Ashwini nakshatra, which is also about twins and a dual nature, playing tricks. It's also about playing tricks. So that's my analysis. My point, my conclusion for you is, and I didn't know that this is what I would see. So I've basically already told you everything I need to tell you. And if you want to look, you can check out the article. I'll link to it below. If you want to know other things or reach out to me for consultations, donations, to see more work, just look below. I'll put it all below. And definitely be aware that this, like day of Libra has been having a lot of challenges recently. And before I looked at this chart, I was not at all. I didn't know much. I mean, I did a lot of research to prepare for this, but before I looked, I didn't have some big optimistic idea about what would happen, because you can see they're facing a lot of stuff. But now that I've looked at the chart, uh, this is going forward, this is going to change. Just as they say, the future is private. Well, the future is private is a way of like capitalizing on public interest in privacy as related with Facebook and its history as of late. And it's also another message. It's a message which is saying the future is private. All of these institutional investors are private. This is a new kind of basically a private worldwide banking system that's being put in place that simply incorporates cryptocurrency as another way for it, Libra, to profit. So that will be good for cryptocurrency. Now, whether it's good for you depends on whether you invest in cryptocurrency, especially the cryptos that I feel. I have a video on Bitcoin. I have a video on Ether, and then I think I will be doing another analysis regarding Monero. And anyway, you have to do your research, but you have to decide whether you want to benefit with these guys or whether you want to let them benefit from you, basically. So hopefully this is not coming across as too strong or like it's. I'm presenting this in with this forcefulness because I can see what's going on by looking at the celestial placements, and also so I just want all of us um, to benefit. So, like, for example, if you have siblings, sisters, brothers in places where um, this might be Libra, buying Libra might be of interest, make sure that they know about cryptocurrency. Make sure that you inform yourself about how you can gain, even if you have $1 to buy Bitcoin, that dollar is going to grow a lot. So that's all I'm saying. I'm just an astrologer. I'm just a person, and but I'm sharing this knowledge, and you do what you want. And I hope you enjoyed this analysis. And see you soon. Okay, ciao, bye.